Right, I feel that every day in how supportive he's been. He's also a fox.
You're ugly.
It's weird, right?
I get another lecture from you, I'm gonna go crazy.
Oh my gosh, I work so hard. That man loves me so much. And, you know, look what we built. We've built a beautiful life, and we have 2 healthy, beautiful children. If you haven't noticed, my husband's very, very handsome.
It's so fake.
Like,
this can't be real.
Oh my God, that hat. Oh God, he's so hot. Look at him. Isn't Prince Harry? She bagged a fox. But look how nice is she. Pulling away from her lovely prince. It's so good. Who's filming this?
Wasn't there some speculation that she was on Epstein's yacht at one point in time?
Most of Meghan Markle's yacht girl pics have been scrubbed from the internet.
There was a sex tape about her.
And I saw it.
What do Americans really think of Harry and Meghan? We despise them.
Is Meghan Markle truly the Duchess of Drama? Or is there a layer of misunderstanding that the relentless headlines often obscure? An email surfaces, sending chills down the spine, a seemingly innocent gesture of homemade preserves signed off with the full weight of Her Royal Highness. Was this authenticity or a carefully curated performance? The internet certainly had its opinions, dissecting every tear, every interview, every business venture with a critical eye. From Time magazine's questionable inclusion in their 100 most influential women to Prince Harry's BBC interview that left critics aghast.
Being unable to just be a human.
I mean, when I listen to Meghan, I am just reminded that there's nothing authentic there.
You're never going to convince anyone that you're authentic.
I'm working so hard. Is she really?
Photos about last night. ... Thank you, Beyonce and team, for an amazing concert and a very fun date night. All love. Girl, she didn't invite you to the concert.
She wants all of the privileges that go along with an identity, but she doesn't want any of the responsibility. She doesn't want to do any of the work. She wants the tiara. She doesn't want the public service.
The narrative surrounding Meghan often paints a picture far from the fairy tale she once seemed to embody. Whispers from former staffers hint at a personality more aligned with narcissism than sainthood, a stark contrast to the image she often projects. Then came the podcast, touted as a raw, unfiltered glimpse into the life of the Duchess of Sussex. No makeup, no script, just pure honesty. Yet, the reality, according to many, felt anything but. Accusations of staged authenticity flew thick and fast. Was she genuinely bearing her soul, or was this another calculated move in the ongoing Meghan show?
Your eyes are sparkling right now. You know, Meghan, how are you today? Which, by the way, I just have to say, yes.
Enjoy them.
I forgot to have fun. You're right. You're right.
That 2-hour podcast that I just had to sit through with Jamie Kern Lima, who is also very cut off from the rest of the world.
A performance designed to garner sympathy where none, in the eyes of her detractors, was due. Comparisons to Katy Perry's astronaut claims highlighted the perceived lack of genuine connection, while the host, Jamie Kern Lima, a friend of Meghan's, was largely seen as an uncritical cheerleader, offering little in the way of objective insight. The tangents about the stress of her day resonated with few, sounding more like the everyday realities of countless individuals rather than the unique struggles of a former royal turned entrepreneur.
She married for money. It's very clear she bagged the elephant. She was thrilled she became a, quote, princess.
You just can't keep faking it. It's too hard.
There isn't a tear in sight. It's an actor's trick.
You'll make yourself cry. Oh, I can do that so well. Oh my God, it's crazy.
The launch of her lifestyle brand, Ever, was met with similar skepticism. The rapid sellout of products was dismissed by some as a strategic illusion created by limited stock, a tactic to generate buzz rather than reflect genuine demand. The image she seemed to be cultivating, a wholesome mother baking cookies and making tea, felt at odds with the perception of someone who, according to one particularly cutting remark about her Netflix cooking show appearance, looked utterly lost in the kitchen. The disconnect between this curated image and the experiences of everyday consumers, some of whom reported significant delays in receiving their orders.
Look, she was on Deal or No Deal.
Yeah, that's right.
And then the wife convinces you to leave the royal family. Like, I'm out. I don't need you guys. Which is crazy, because don't you just get free money?
Oh, we want our privacy and safety, but we'll go be at Beyonce concerts and do whatever we want. Oh, look at him.
There was like photos with her and Prince Andrew way back in the day when she was like in her early 20s.
There's evidence that suggests that she went on Epstein's yacht at the same time as Prince Andrew.
Further fueled the criticism. Even her trademark filings for yoga mats and pet bowls were labeled as a desperate grab for brand recognition, a far cry from the image of a down-to-earth individual. the podcast itself became a focal point of ridicule, with many questioning the seemingly endless self-promotion and the constant emphasis on her own success and the perceived hardships she had overcome. The narrative of victimhood, so prominent in their public pronouncements, began to wear thin for some, with a sense of enough already permeating the online discourse. The anecdote about writing nightly emails to her children.
The kids, these email addresses that sort of like names again that you would never guess, that I will give them at some point in their lives when they're older. But before I go to bed almost every night, I email them.
Wow.
I email because it doesn't have to be a heavy lift.
Intended perhaps to portray a loving and dedicated mother, was met with incredulity and even mockery, the sheer volume of potential emails painting a picture of an overwhelming digital burden for her future teenage children. Even the seemingly mundane act of school drop-offs was presented in a way that, to many, sounded less like a relatable parental duty and more like a lament about the inconveniences of her privileged life, especially given the reported presence of a nanny. Her appearance at the Time 100 Summit only amplified the skepticism. The seemingly rambling, almost nonsensical discourse about dried flower petals on salads and scrambled eggs left many utterly bewildered, questioning the substance behind the carefully crafted image of influence. The very inclusion of Meghan on such a list, despite her recent business ventures facing public scrutiny, was deemed absurd by many, a testament more to her connections and former royal status than to any significant world-changing accomplishments. Comparisons to figures like Gayle King, seen as a genuinely impactful woman, further underscored the perceived disparity. The resurfacing of claims from someone who knew her ex-husband, alleging a long-held vision board featuring Prince Harry, painted a picture of calculated ambition rather than a chance encounter leading to love. Prince Harry's BBC interview, ostensibly about his security concerns following a lost court appeal, did little to quell the tide of negative sentiment. His criticism of King Charles for not addressing these concerns was largely seen as poorly timed and self-pitying, especially in light of his father's recent cancer diagnosis. The phrase, "my father's grandchildren," was particularly scrutinized, interpreted by some as manipulative and emotionally charged. Palace insiders reportedly slammed his comments as being in poor taste, while others highlighted King Charles's growing distrust regarding private family matters being aired on television. Online reactions were brutal, branding him as entitled and out of touch, with some labeling the entire situation a royal pity party. The underlying narrative, for many, was that the pursuit of financial gain had been a driving force behind their departure, with deals being lined up even while Meghan was still officially the Duchess of Sussex. The late Queen Elizabeth II reported stance of no half-in, half-out underscored the stark choice they had made, a choice that came with the forfeiture of royal privileges. The broader sentiment painted Harry's interview as an exaggeration of grievances, further deepening the well-documented rift within the royal family. The idea that Meghan harbored animosity towards the institution and was the primary catalyst for the family's internal conflicts resonated with many, leading to a significant erosion of public sympathy for Harry as well. The harsh labels continued to be applied. Megyn Kelly referred to Meghan as a malignant narcissist, while Celia Walden of The Telegraph described her podcast as a self-focused therapy session. Reports of brands like Goop allegedly rejecting her lifestyle guru pitch further fueled the narrative of an individual struggling to find genuine resonance with the public. The perception that every tear, every carefully worded anecdote, was ultimately a calculated move to bolster her brand, rather than an authentic display of vulnerability, became increasingly prevalent. The podcast with Jamie Kern Lima, in particular, was often cited as a prime example of this perceived insincerity, a car crash of forced enthusiasm and uncritical praise. Kern Lima, despite her own success as a self-made billionaire, was seen by many as an enabler, someone seemingly more interested in basking in Meghan's reflected glory than offering any semblance of objective conversation. Her effusive agreement with everything Meghan said, her high-pitched tone, and her seemingly over-the-top empathy were widely mocked as inauthentic and performative, turning the interview into what many described as an hour-long Meghan hype session. Even Kern Lima's opening question, "Meghan, how are you and are you okay?" was derided as overly dramatic and indicative of a staged conversation rather than a genuine inquiry between friends. The host's own background, including an appearance on Big Brother, did little to lend credibility to her image as a serious interviewer or a discerning judge of character. The constant references to Meghan as a princess and Harry as her dragon-slaying rescuer only added to the perception of a narrative divorced from reality. Ultimately, the contrasting narratives surrounding Meghan Markle and Prince Harry continue to fuel intense debate. Are they genuinely sharing their truth and navigating unprecedented challenges? Or are they masterfully staging a drama for public consumption and personal gain? From the questionable accolades to the unflattering staffer accounts, the evidence presented paints a complex and often contradictory picture. While supporters champion them as misunderstood victims of a rigid and unforgiving institution, critics see a narcissistic duo adept at manipulating public perception and exaggerating their struggles for sympathy. The internet, in its vast and often unforgiving wisdom, leans heavily towards the latter, questioning the authenticity behind every carefully curated appearance and every emotionally charged revelation. The truth, as the final commentator in the transcript wryly observes, remains elusive, lost somewhere in the echo chamber of headlines and online opinions.